Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sahil. I go by my producer name Altersynth, and this is a second video on the song that I was mixing the last video. This song is called Hope Will Find You, and I am re-releasing this under Altersynth. I was able to set up a rough mix by the end of the last video, but now I do plan to finish this entire mix and hopefully the master of the song in this video. It's in a very decent shape. It is sounding nice. I have a few concerns regarding how loud it is and how clean this sounds, but today I will start to progress from the intro and work through the sections and mix the entire song and do some automation. So let's hear a bit of the song from the start. Okay, it sounds pretty nice. I do feel there's a lack of effects, reverb, delay on the tracks, on the instruments that can be made a little more beautified. But in general, it sounds very nice. So my simple process is this. I start from the chorus. I mix the chorus, which I did in the last video. I always have a mix bus chain and a master bus chain going on while I mix. This is slightly different from the last video, so you might see a difference if you have seen the last video. But it's mostly the same, not too much of a difference. It helps me to have something on the mix bus and the music bus so that I know what my mix will sound when there's bus processing on it, and not dumping it at the end in the hopes that it won't change the mix actually. So that's why I have these two on there, and I have done the chorus. Now I will start moving through each section, fix what I hear is a problem, frequency clashes, dynamic problems, lack of reverb, lack of effects. I might or might not do automation, but this is the basic correction that I start doing from the first section, and it depends how much my man can manage, but let's try. I'll try and keep explaining what I'm doing as I go and the problems that are here at each one. So a little too much high end on the bass. Multi-band compressor would work nice on this. Just compressing the mids, not the low end. We can increase. Let's keep the attack down. We can make the release faster so that it doesn't feel laggy. It feels nice and sharp. So this is without this, and then with this. It just tucks in the bass a little better into the mix. More whole reverb on the guitars. Definitely more reverb on this. So this is, by the way, this is an Indian instrument called Santoor, which I have taken out from the Discovery Series India. Let's remove all this and let's add a reverb as an insert. I want this to be floaty and a little above all of the things, not directly in front and not as present. Okay, that section is fine. These sounds can go higher. The lead sound can be better. Okay, it sounds better without the EQ. Let's just reset this and try again. And this is how a good production can help you a lot, because I'm not saying this is the best production. This was done a while ago. This was, I think, this is a year or 2 years old song, and it's not the best production I've had, and this is not the best song that I can make right now. But even then, I did a lot of work to have the production work in a certain way that it worked for me. So you should put in attention while you're making or producing a song that it works at the production stage, so that your mix will get easier. Some more reverb on this. I think this only has delay. I need more reverb. Yeah. So I need this section to be very washy, because this is a kind of a build up to the chorus. Maybe have this higher and then peter it out afterwards. I need all of this to have reverb. I want things to connect. I want things to build up and have like bad feeling before it enters. I really like guitar rig effects, not just for guitars but for other sounds as well. If you have guitar rig and if you're looking for good delays or good reverbs, then you can check out guitar rig 6. Use the effects not just for your guitar amps or for your guitar sounds or tones, but you can also use them for other purposes as well. Okay, this could be a little more in the back, not as upfront. I do hear some clashing. Another thing that I really like and I've used a lot in my mixing process is mixing in mono. So there's a very helpful feature in Studio One where you can change your entire output to mono by the click of a button. This is where you find it. It also says mono in there. So if you just click these two circles, which is stereo. So if I click this, then this output becomes mono, and then so mono helps in mixing you a lot, because in mono things have to be clear, only then they will stand out. Stereo can make mixing a little easier because you have the option to send it to the left, to the right, or push it a little back to the front, whatever. But mono is very one-dimensional and you can't do too much to escape the fact that you have to mix the song. So it forces you to mix better and forces you to focus more on the fundamentals of mixing, which are EQ and compression. So right now I can feel there's like a big build up in the low mids, like the 200 to 300 area. I can A/B between the stereo and mono and see if I agree with what mono's image is telling me or not. I can also refer tonal balance if I'm confused. Like I said, 100, 200, 200, 300, there's a bit of a bump. This is most probably the bass, and we can fix that by cutting from the bass. Or we can also check if it's the bass or the electric guitar just by muting. Yeah, so I think we can also enable this. Let's keep on checking in mono. The drums could be a little softer, so I'll just adjust the output. Don't agree with that. Let's not mess with the leveling. Let's only change EQ moves. It can be a little less, maybe a dB or 1.5 dB. Sure, okay. So I just added a little high mid-range to the synth. I already have this. I don't think I don't need that in the science. Yeah, let's do both here. Yeah. Let's see if that is clashing with the main lead or not. Okay, a little. Much better. Yeah, this is one problem with using the demo, that even though there's no limitation on how long you can use it, you have to click demo mode each and every time, and after a certain point of time, it asks you to wait for the demo timer to end. This is fine. Let's also send this to Shimmer. I want to feel a more pronounced layer of reverb or effects over the song. And this piano is not cutting out as much as I wanted, so I'll duplicate this. This is something that I do a lot, where if I am mixing and something doesn't cut through, then I'll try and increase the sound by an octave. You don't need to find the MIDI and readjust it, because it's not so upfront in the mix that it will make a difference, but it will just make enough difference that it sounds out to you in the mix, but not enough to clearly showcase that it's been transposed by force through audio. Yeah. Yeah. So here the before and after. Try to focus on the piano melody if it is coming through or not, with and without the higher part. So this is the piano melody. Then without. You can slightly feel it, but with this. can very clearly feel how this works. So okay, once again without. And then with. Slight difference, but I think it sounds better this way, so let's keep it that way. Let's just check if at the second point it changed. No, it didn't, so let's also add an octave there. Okay, that is well and good. Now onwards. I do hear the pedal sound coming to the piano. Yep, to mitigate that, let's just add a low pass filter or a high cut filter. Yep. Makes the piano a little darker, but I think it should work. So again, before. And after. I think it sounds better this way. Again, let's add reverb. I love reverb if you haven't figured it out by now. Yep, beautiful. I could also use with some delay directly on this. So delay. So I want da 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 da. So da 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 da. So 8th, I think, but not dotted. Normal 8th. Maybe 4th. Yeah. See how well it bounces and there's a rhythm now to it. So da 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 da. Very nice. Not as much width. Let's add some drive. Okay, nice. Very nice. So the point is not that you exactly hear how the reverb is sounding, the echo is sounding, the delay is sounding clearly in the mix, but it's just a feeling that it fills the mix better. So without it, with it just sounds more fuller to me, which is what I want. So there's something that clearly increased the bass of the entire mix by a lot. Probably the key, so let's mute. Yeah. So this is going wild now. Let's go back and see if we want to decrease throughout or wait. Why is it adding too much bass only at that point? It is not, okay. It just sounds so messy at this point. So instead of doing automation for EQ, which I hate, I like automation for volume and other things, but I don't like using automation for small things where I have to do some EQ and then change it. So I'll duplicate the track. And then I will change the EQ on this. Maybe open this. Yep. Low shelf, probably not. Okay, it's 30 minutes now. I do take a break every 30 minutes, reset my ears, maybe probably listen to a reference after I come back. So break right now, then we'll come back and we'll finish this mix for the rest of the song. Okay, I'm back. We were at the second verse. Before that, let me quickly listen to a reference and then I'll continue with the mix. I'll probably cut this out. So okay, the reference mix that I checked is a little more empty in the low mids than what I have right now. So I'll try to cut more low mids in the instruments that I have in order to match that. But if there's too much, or if at the end I still feel that there's too much low mids by reference, then I can just cut it in mastering. So it's more important in mixing to have cohesion and for your sounds to mix together with each other. If you want to change the overall quality of the mix or overall quality of your song, then you can do it in mastering by doing some EQ moves. But it's the most important thing in mixing right now is, of course, you want to be at the ideal point that you want to be at the end, but it's also more important to have the songs work with each other properly. So let's cut some low mids in this piano. Much better, yeah. Let's delete this, sounds terrible. This sounds very nice. Let's increase the strings a bit and let's add all to all of these. You know what? Let's just redo this. I don't know what I did there back there. Also, it's fine to delete what you have done if you don't think it's making much of a change. Like there, it's barely making any difference, even though I've done so much. So it's better to just delete and work over. So I'll add. I don't want to compress these strings because I don't like because they need to be more dynamic. I'll just use an EQ. Maybe before that I do have fresh air, so let's unsolo this, add fresh air. Okay, perfect. Much better, yeah. I need less reverb on all three, yep. Okay, something else is creating the mess that I'm hearing, not this. There's a synth that is creating a mess, probably this. Yep, I don't think I need two strings playing, even if it's different timbres. Let's just give some body afterwards, after the fresh air. And let's just double check the staccato that we have at the start. Yep. I could cut in 3-4K-ish, or even higher. Yeah. Let's just drag this piano down. I don't know what these endings are. Okay, not very useful. Delete. Again, as you said, this is not the best organized session. This is not an ideal session by any meaning, but what is the most important is releasing songs. I understand the song enough that I can mix this. I am not mixing it to the best possible that it can be. I'm trying my best, but the main goal is to release the song. That is what we producers or we composers don't do well. We don't we make songs, we try to make songs, but we never finish them, and they just keep rotting in our hard disks or now SSDs, and they just don't go anywhere because we want them to be perfect. So I'm not doing anything perfect. I'm doing what is needed, and I'll push to release this as soon as possible. Something has too much reverb. Yep, lead. This is too loud. Second lead is too loud. Too low. What you have to develop is the ability to make out what is wrong with your mix as you're going through and then correct that. So 2 stages. First and the most important that people miss is hearing the problem. You have to hear the problem first before you're able to figure out what to do to fix it. And then when you have grown into the habit of being able to fix what you're doing, being able to hear what you want to fix, then after that you go into processes and methods to try and figure out how to fix that. Something odd happening with the sound. Okay, with the guitars. Lack of fades. Delete this. Extend this a bit, or make this shorter. Too much low end, too much 200, 100, 200. Yep. If it's going on with this, I don't need anything other than let's put a high cut. Now the question is only these bass, or the section where only this bass is playing. Yeah, so this needs the high end. So duplicate this and then push this down, push this up, and then delete it. Yeah. Also, MIDI guitar brother, if you're not able to tell. I'm not a guitarist. I try my best to play a lead with what I have, with what I can do, with the MIDI guitars that I have. But me not being a guitarist means that I play in a way that sounds like a keyboardist. So please bear with me. One of my favorite sections in any song that I've ever made, by the way. Love how it hits you right in the feelings. Also, mute if you don't feel difference. If you don't feel a difference on muting anything, if that happens, just mute and don't unmute it. Strings could use soothe overall. I know these don't sound like real strings too much if you solo them, but I just need them to work in the mix, not by solo. I need this to be a little more in the back. Soothe on the master and the music bus doing a lot. Hold on the tags. Just makes it a little more cleaner. This can be louder. Again, entire thing, the synths rise before the drop. I'm saying the drop is the chorus, but you get the idea. Okay, sounds very nice to me. I don't think I have to do too much in this. I'll play this through once after a 5-minute break. I'll come back, I'll play through this once. I don't think I'll change too much. I've been working on this for a lot. I don't want to overwork this, but I'll listen to this once more. I maybe will not play this again for you to hear, but I'll see if this is done. But if this is done, then we are done with the mix. I'll probably not master this in a video. I'll probably get back to the production because mastering is something that I don't want to get into with the channel right now. But this has been a very nice mix overall. Okay, back. Just listening to the song once, making small changes if I need, making automation changes if I want to. Okay, all good, all finalized. I will just, this is something that I do. I will just make an alternation for volume entering into the song, like dip up, and then automation for ending the song to end the tail of the reverbs nicely. Yep, and at the end, yes, that is done. Let's see if this is too long or not. Works. Okay, so now just Command A. Wait a second. Oh, let's go to Command E. What will find you? Mix is final. Yeah, and then let it render. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me on another video, and I hope this was helpful for you, or you enjoyed watching me mix my music, or you learned something from it. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.